I thought I knew Amber completely, after 3 years together. We shared an apartment in East Austin, talked about marriage over Sunday morning. Pancakes even had names picked out for future kids. But looking back, there were signs I ignored. Late-night phone sessions she took in the bathroom. Her sudden obsession with podcasts about ethical non-monogamy. New friends I never met. I convinced myself she was just exploring ideas intellectually, expanding her worldview. The day everything shattered was not dramatic at all. No screaming match, no catching her red-handed. Just a simple text message that arrived at 6:15 on a Tuesday evening while I was making dinner. That message changed everything. Before I tell you how one text destroyed 3 years, and what happened when her very traditional Catholic parents discovered the truth their daughter had been hiding, let me know in the comments where you are watching from. Hit that like button and subscribe because this story gets wild. Trust me, you will want to hear what happened when she started banging on my door at 8:30 that night, screaming about misunderstandings while I calmly packed her belongings into cardboard boxes. Tyler and I met Amber 4 years ago, at his backyard barbecue in Austin. It was late May, temperature hitting 95 degrees, and everyone was drinking cold beer by his pool. She wore a sundress covered in sunflowers and laughed at my terrible joke about Texas heat. Amber was a freelance graphic designer with a portfolio full of vibrant logos and brand identities. I was a software engineer at a mid-sized tech company downtown debugging code and attending too many meetings. Our first conversation lasted 2 hours. We discovered a shared obsession with obscure indie bands' weekend, hiking trips, and cooking elaborate meals together instead of going out. Our first real date was at a tiny Thai restaurant on South Congress. She ordered the spiciest curry on the menu without hesitation. I was impressed. By our third date, we were finishing each other's sentences. 6 months in, we took a road trip to Big Bend National Park. I still remember sitting under that massive West Texas sky, stars so bright they looked unreal, while Amber talked about her dreams of starting her own design studio. She wanted to create brands for small businesses owned by women and minorities. I told her about my goal of becoming a lead engineer, maybe starting my own software consultancy someday. Everything felt possible with her beside me. After 18 months, moving in together seemed natural. We found a 2-bedroom apartment in East Austin, with exposed brick walls and big windows that filled the place with morning light. Amber claimed the second bedroom as her design studio. I set up a small home office in the corner of our bedroom. We split chores evenly, though I paid about 70% of the rent since my income was more stable. She was saving money to officially launch her business. It made sense. Life felt steady, comfortable, secure. We talked about engagement rings casually, the way couples do when they are confident about their future. Then around 6 months before everything exploded, subtle shifts started appearing. Amber joined what she called a personal growth workshop through a friend named Dakota. She started attending weekly Tuesday evening meetups at a community center downtown. When I asked if I could join sometime, she said it was a closed group, very intimate sharing, and adding new people would disrupt the dynamic. I understood. Everyone needs their own space, their own friendships, outside a relationship. That is healthy. But new vocabulary started creeping into her conversations. She talked about expanding boundaries and breaking free from traditional relationship constructs and deprogramming societal expectations. When I asked what she meant, she would wave her hand dismissively and say I would not understand unless I attended the workshops. She started listening to podcasts constantly. I would come home and hear voices through her headphones discussing open relationships, polyamory, relationship anarchy. One evening I asked her directly if she was interested in that lifestyle. She laughed, said she was just learning about different perspectives, purely academic interest. She kissed my cheek and told me not to worry. I trusted her completely. Why would I not? 3 years of devotion, of shared dreams, of building a life together. I thought intellectual curiosity was healthy. Maybe I was secure enough in our relationship to let her explore ideas without feeling threatened. Then came the moment I should have paid attention to, but dismissed instead. I came home early one Thursday, around 3 in the afternoon, because our office air conditioning had broken. I walked into the apartment and found Amber at her desk, laptop open. But the second she heard me, she jumped and slammed it shut. Her face went pale. When I asked what was wrong, she laughed too loudly and said she was planning a surprise for my birthday. My birthday was 4 months away. The excuse made no sense, but I wanted to believe her. So I did. Our physical intimacy started fading around that time, too. She was always tired from work or stressed about a client deadline or had a headache. Date nights became rare. She had commitments with her Tuesday group that somehow started bleeding into other evenings. When we did spend time together, conversations felt surface level. She was physically present but mentally somewhere else, checking her phone, constantly smiling at messages she would not share. I tried reconnecting. I made reservations at our favorite Italian restaurant, the place where we had our 6-month anniversary dinner. I got there early, ordered her favorite wine, waited. She arrived 20 minutes late, apologizing about traffic. Throughout dinner, her phone kept buzzing. She would glance at it, smile slightly, then put it face down on the table. When I mentioned feeling like we were drifting apart, her entire demeanor changed. She accused me of being controlling and insecure. That word insecure hit hard. I had always prided myself on being confident in our relationship, on giving her space and freedom. Was I being paranoid? Too traditional in my thinking? Was I the problem? I started questioning everything about myself. Maybe I was not evolved enough. Maybe I needed to read those books she kept mentioning about deconstructing monogamy. Maybe my discomfort was just conditioning from a society that feared alternative lifestyles. I tried talking to Tyler about it, but I felt stupid admitting my girlfriend was pulling away, and I did not know why. So I kept quiet and hoped things would improve. The night before the text, Amber came home at 11:30. She said she had been at Dakota's house watching movies with the group. When she hugged me goodnight, I smelled cologne. Not perfume, cologne. A woody masculine scent that definitely was not mine. I opened my mouth to ask about it, but she had already disappeared into the bathroom. I heard the shower running for a long time. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, trying to convince myself I was imagining things, trying to silence the voice in my head screaming that something was deeply wrong. I wanted to believe her. That was my mistake. Love makes you stupid sometimes. It makes you ignore evidence right in front of your face, because accepting the truth means accepting that the person you built your life around has been lying to you. Tuesday evening. 6:15 exactly. I was standing in our kitchen making spaghetti carbonara, Amber's favorite dish. I had stopped at the fancy grocery store on the way home, bought fresh pasta from the Italian deli, real pancetta, aged Parmesan cheese. I was trying. One more attempt to bridge whatever gap had opened between us. The pasta water was boiling, bacon sizzling in the pan, and my phone buzzed on the counter. I expected a text saying she was on her way home, maybe asking if I needed anything from the store. Instead, I got a message that made my stomach drop so hard I thought I might vomit. The text read, "Preston, I need to be honest with you. I have been exploring polyamory for months now, and this is not a phase or casual curiosity. This is who I am at my core. I have actually been seeing someone else named Marcus for the past 3 months, and I have developed real feelings for him. I need you to understand that I can love multiple people simultaneously without it diminishing what I feel for you. This is non-negotiable. Either you accept my polyamory and my relationship with Marcus, or I am moving out this week. I need your answer by tonight because I am staying at his place right now and need to know if I should come home or start looking for a new apartment. Let me know." I read it 3 times, then a 4th. My hands started shaking so badly, I had to set the phone down. The bacon was burning. I turned off the stove, automatically muscle memory taking over, while my brain tried to process what I had just read. The casual cruelty of it stunned me more than the actual content. She delivered this bomb via text message, while I was cooking her favorite meal, while she was at another man's apartment. She gave me an ultimatum, not an invitation to discuss our relationship like adults. Accept it, or she was gone. Not let us talk about this. Not I made a mistake. Just deal with it, or lose me. And the kicker, she had already been seeing someone else for 3 months. This was not hypothetical. This was not her coming to me and saying she wanted to explore polyamory together with honesty and consent. She had been cheating on me for a quarter of a year, and now she wanted me to retroactively accept it by slapping a trendy label on infidelity. I thought about Marcus. Who was he? How did they meet? Was it through that Tuesday group? How many lies had she told? How many times had she kissed me after being with him? The questions spiraled, each one making me feel sicker. Then something strange happened. A weird calm washed over me. Years of software engineering had trained my brain to respond to crises with logic. When you get bad data, you debug the system. When the system is broken beyond repair, you shut it down and start fresh. This relationship was corrupted at the core. Not because polyamory itself is wrong, but because Amber had built our entire dynamic on deception. Real ethical non-monogamy requires honesty from the beginning. It requires enthusiastic consent from all parties before anyone else enters the picture. It requires respect. What Amber was doing was not polyamory. It was cheating with a progressive vocabulary attached to avoid accountability. I thought about her parents. Barbara and Donald lived in rural Georgia on the same property where Barbara had grown up. They were devout Catholics who attended Mass every Sunday and Wednesday evening. They had welcomed me into their family with such warmth when Amber first introduced us 2 years ago. Barbara baked me a pecan pie from scratch. Donald took me fishing and told me stories about Amber's childhood. They talked about grandchildren frequently, always smiling at me like I was already their son-in-law. Barbara had even given Amber her grandmother's engagement ring last Christmas, pulling me aside to whisper that I should have it when the time comes. They had no idea their daughter was living a secret life in Austin. No idea she was sleeping with multiple men while pretending to be their traditional church-going daughter whenever she visited home for holidays. I looked around our apartment. The lease was in both our names, but I paid 70% of the rent and utilities. Most of the furniture was mine from before we moved in together. The couch, the dining table, the bed frame, the television. Amber had contributed her desk some artwork and decorative pillows. She wanted me to accept her cheating, but she also expected to keep living in my apartment. Or did she expect me to leave while she stayed? The absurdity of it snapped something into place. No discussion, no begging, no dramatic confrontation, just cold, clear action. I opened my messages and typed one word, in response noted. I hit send. Then I turned off the stove completely and threw the half-cooked carbonara directly into the trash can. I was not eating tonight anyway. My appetite had vanished. Next, I called our landlord. Jerry was a friendly man in his 60s who owned 3 buildings in East Austin. He had always been responsive and fair. He answered on the 3rd ring. Jerry, it is Preston from Unit 212. I need to talk to you about my lease situation. I explained the situation calmly. Girlfriend cheating relationship over, need her removed from the apartment. To my surprise, Jerry was immediately understanding. I am sorry to hear that, son. Nobody should go through that kind of betrayal. Here is the thing, though. Your name is the primary on the lease, since you are the main income qualifier. Legally, I can remove her without issue. But changing locks, that will cost you about $80 for the service call and new hardware. I can have someone there tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. sharp. Want me to schedule it? Do it, I said without hesitation. You got it. I will text you when they are on the way. I thanked him and hung up. Next move. I took a screenshot of Amber's text message. Read it again, feeling that cold anger solidify into something harder. The audacity of, "This is non-negotiable," echoed in my head. Fine. She wanted non-negotiable, I could do non-negotiable. I scrolled through my contacts and found Barbara's number. She had insisted I save it 2 years ago during a Christmas visit. For emergencies, dear, she had said, patting my hand. You are family now. I opened a new message to Barbara and typed carefully. Hi, Barbara. I hope you and Donald are doing well. I am sorry to share difficult news, but I thought you should know what is happening with Amber. I attached the screenshot of Amber's text. Then continued. She sent this to me about an hour ago while I was making dinner. I wanted you to hear the truth from me, rather than through filtered stories later. I am changing the locks tomorrow morning. She has made her choice clear. I wish you and Donald nothing but the best. You have been wonderful to me. Take care. Preston. My finger hovered over the send button for maybe 3 seconds. Some part of me knew this was nuclear. Amber's parents supported her financially, helping with her design business startup costs and her car payments. They had expectations about her life, her values, her future. This text would shatter their image of their daughter. But then I thought about respect. Amber had not respected me enough to be honest. She had not respected her parents enough to live authentically, instead of performing tradition, whenever convenient. Real honesty means facing consequences. She wanted to be true to herself. Fine. Let everyone see the truth. I hit send. Then I started packing Amber's belongings. I grabbed cardboard boxes from our storage closet, the ones we had saved from our move-in. Methodically, I went through the apartment collecting everything that belonged to her. Clothes from the closet folded neatly. Toiletries from the bathroom, placed in a smaller box. Her design books, her sketch pads, her laptop and tablet. The framed photos of her family. Her collection of scented candles. The decorative pillows she loved. Her kitchen gadgets. I worked with mechanical efficiency. No tears, no anger. Just the calm focus of someone executing a plan. This was a project. Break it down into tasks. Complete each task. Move to the next. My phone started buzzing around 7:30. Amber calling. I declined. She called again. Declined. Text messages started flooding in. I did not read them. There was nothing she could say that would change the outcome. By 8 o'clock I had packed 6 boxes. The apartment already looked different. Emptier. But also lighter somehow. I was carrying the last box to stack by the door when I heard the first ring of the doorbell. The doorbell rang 3 times in quick succession. Then, pounding started. Fists hammering against the door hard enough that I worried she might damage it. Preston. Open the door right now, we need to talk. Amber's voice was high-pitched, frantic, nothing like the calm, calculated tone of her text message. I continued stacking boxes by the door, organizing them neatly. Her design equipment in one box, clothes in 3 others. Personal items in the remaining 2. The pounding intensified. I know you are in there. Your car is in the parking lot. Please just let me in so we can work this out like adults. I almost laughed at that. Adults. She wanted to talk like adults after delivering an ultimatum via text from her affair partner's apartment. Preston, please. Her voice cracked. We can fix this. Just open the door. I said nothing. I walked to the kitchen and poured myself a glass of water. Took a long drink. The pounding continued. Then her tone shifted. Anger replaced panic. You forwarded that text to my parents. Are you insane? What is wrong with you? How dare you involve them in our private business? There it was. The real reason she raced over here. Barbara had already called her. I felt a grim satisfaction at that. Consequences were arriving faster than Amber had anticipated. That message was private. You had no right. She was screaming now. My dad is losing his mind. Do you have any idea what you have done? I looked out the window. Mrs. Patterson from across the hall had poked her head out her door, eyes wide with concern. I gave her a small wave to indicate everything was fine. She hesitated, then slowly closed her door. Amber's voice changed again, desperate now, pleading. It was taken completely out of context. It is all a huge misunderstanding. Marcus is just a friend. I was exploring ideas theoretically for a design project. You know how I research topics deeply when I am working on branding, please, Preston. You know me. You know I would never actually cheat on you. The lies were piling up faster than she could keep track of them. First, the text said she had been seeing Marcus for 3 months and had real feelings for him. Now suddenly he was just a friend, and it was all theoretical research. Did she think I was stupid? I walked to the door and opened it slightly, keeping the chain lock engaged. Through the 3-inch gap I could see Amber. Her mascara had run down her cheeks in black streaks. Her hair was messy. Her eyes were wild, desperate. She was still wearing the same clothes from this morning, a detail that somehow made everything worse. She had been at Marcus's place all day in those clothes. You need to call my parents right now and tell them it was a joke, she demanded, her voice shaking. Tell them you were upset and sent that as revenge, but it was not real. Please, Preston. They are threatening to cut me off completely. No, I said calmly. What? She looked stunned, like she could not comprehend that single word. No, I repeated. I am not calling your parents. I am not explaining anything. You sent me an ultimatum. Now I am giving you the same courtesy. Your belongings will be boxed and waiting in the building lobby tomorrow by noon. The lease is in my name. The rent comes from my bank account. You made your choice. Now live with it. Preston, please. Tears were streaming now. They said I am disgracing the family. My dad said I am not welcome home until I fix this. My mom won. Not stop crying. They are talking about making me move back to Georgia and go to counseling with their priest. You do not understand what you have done. I understand perfectly, I said. You were seeing someone behind my back for months. You did not respect me enough to have an honest conversation before pursuing another relationship. You gave me an ultimatum via text message while you were at his apartment. Now, you are facing consequences for your choices. That is how life works. She switched tactics immediately. The tears stopped. Her face hardened. You are being cruel and vindictive. This is not about what I did. This is about you being so insecure and controlling that you cannot handle me having other connections. You are punishing me for being authentic. I am holding you accountable. For lying, I corrected. There is a difference. If you had come to me 6 months ago and said you wanted to explore polyamory, we could have had a conversation. Maybe we would have broken up. Maybe we would have worked something out. But you did not do that. You cheated, hid it, then demanded. I accept it after the fact. That is not authenticity. That is manipulation. I will tell everyone what you did, she was shouting again. I will tell all our friends that you violated my privacy and involved my family in our relationship. They will see what kind of person you really are. Go ahead, I said evenly. I have the screenshots. I have the timeline. I am sure people will form their own opinions. Her face crumpled. She went back to begging. Please, I will end things with Marcus right now. I will never see him again. I will do whatever you want. Just please call my parents and fix this. I am sorry. I am so sorry. I made a mistake. I was confused. Please, Preston, I love you. But I noticed she said I will end things with Marcus, not there is nothing going on with Marcus. Even in her apology, she could not stop lying. Good night, Amber, I said quietly. Wait, no, please, just listen. I closed the door and locked it. She pounded for another 10 minutes. Then she tried the doorbell again. Then, more pounding. Eventually, I heard her sliding down the door, sitting in the hallway crying. I almost felt bad. Almost. Then I remembered the text. The months of lies. The gaslighting. The manipulation. My sympathy evaporated. Around 9:15 she finally left. I heard her footsteps retreating down the hall. A car door slamming in the parking lot. Engine starting. Driving away. I looked around the apartment. 6 boxes stacked by the door. The silence felt different now. Not empty. Just. Quiet. Peaceful almost. I slept better that night than I had in months. Wednesday morning. 9 a.m. Exactly. Jerry's locksmith arrived right on schedule. Young guy, maybe mid-20s, efficient and professional. He swapped out the deadbolt and the door handle lock in 45 minutes flat. The new keys felt heavy in my hand. Solid. Final. All set, the locksmith said. Your ex tries her old keys, they would not work. You are the only one with access now. After he left, I continued boxing Amber's remaining items. Her collection of design magazines. The fancy coffee maker she bought but never used because she preferred the cheap drip machine. Her yoga mat that had gathered dust in the closet. By 10:30, I had everything packed. 10 boxes total, neatly taped and labeled. My phone buzzed. Text from Barbara Preston, dear. Thank you for telling us the truth. Donald and I are absolutely heartbroken. We raised Amber to value honesty and commitment. You deserve so much better than deception. We are truly sorry you were hurt by our daughter's choices. You are a good man with a good heart. Please take care of yourself. Barbara. I stared at that message for a long time. Part of me felt guilty for involving her parents. But a larger part recognized that Amber had involved them the moment she accepted their financial support while living a lie. She had used their money, their love, their trust, all while hiding who she really was. That was not my fault. That was hers. At 11, I texted the building manager, Carlos, and asked if he could help me move boxes to the lobby. He showed up 15 minutes later with a dolly. Rough situation, man, Carlos said as we loaded boxes. I heard some of the conversation last night. Walls are thin. Sorry you are going through this. I appreciate that, I said. We made 3 trips, stacking everything neatly in a corner of the lobby near the mailboxes. Carlos helped me arrange them so they would not block the walkway. You want me to keep an eye out for when she picks these up? Carlos asked. Make sure there is no drama. That would be great, thank you. At noon, I sent Amber a text. Your belongings are in the building lobby near the mailboxes. 10 boxes total. You have until 5 p.m. to collect them, or they go to Goodwill. Do not contact me again. Then I blocked her number. The afternoon passed strangely. I tried working from home, but I could not focus. Around 2 p.m., Tyler called. Dude, I just got the weirdest call from Jenna, he said. Jenna was Amber's friend, from the design community. She said Amber is telling everyone you kicked her out over a misunderstanding, and that you invaded her privacy by telling her parents lies. What the hell happened? I sent him the screenshots. There was a long silence while he read. Holy shit, Tyler finally said. She actually texted you that, while she was at the other guy's place. Yep, and she is telling people you made it up. Apparently, that is insane. Dude, you did the right thing. Cheating is cheating. I do not care what trendy label she slaps on it. Real polyamory requires consent from everyone involved before anything happens. What she did was just basic betrayal. Hearing that validation from my best friend since college helped more than I expected. Thanks, man. I needed to hear that. You staying strong. Want to grab a beer later. Rain check, I just want to be alone tonight. Fair enough. But I am here if you need me. By 3 p.m. My phone was blowing up. Calls from mutual friends. I ignored most of them. A few sent supportive texts once they heard the real story. Others went silent, probably taking Amber's side without hearing my perspective. That told me everything I needed to know about who my real friends were. At 4:30, Carlos texted me. She is here with some guy. Collecting the boxes now. Thought you would want to know. I texted back. Thanks for letting me know. I did not go downstairs. There was no point. No final words would change anything. Carlos sent another text 20 minutes later. They are gone. She was crying the whole time. The dude looked super uncomfortable, like he wanted to be anywhere else. Marcus, I assumed. Probably just realizing he had been lied to as well. Amber likely told him I was just a roommate or that we were barely together. Finding out she had a serious 3-year relationship probably came as a shock. Sure enough, at 6 p.m. I got a text from an unknown number. Hey, this is Marcus. I do not know if Amber gave you my number, but I wanted to reach out. I had no idea you two were seriously together. She told me you were just roommates who used to date casually, and that you both were seeing other people. I feel like a complete idiot. I am really sorry, man. I broke things off with her today. What she did to both of us is not okay. I actually appreciated that. Marcus was a victim of Amber's lies, too. I texted back. Thanks for reaching out. I believe you. She is good at manipulating situations. Good luck. He replied. You too, man. The next few weeks were strange. Amber tried reaching out through email when she realized I had blocked her number. Long messages about closure, about explaining her side, about how we could still be friends, about how she had made mistakes, but I was overreacting. I deleted them without reading past the first few sentences. Tyler helped me process everything over beers and wings at our usual spot. She did not want polyamory, dude, he said. She wanted permission to cheat without consequences. Real ethical non-monogamy is built on honesty and consent from day one. She built everything on lies, then tried to use progressive language to avoid accountability when she got caught. He was right. I had done some research in those weeks. Read articles about ethical non-monogamy, listened to podcasts, tried to understand if I was being closed-minded. But every resource emphasized the same things: honesty, communication, enthusiastic consent, from all parties before anyone else gets involved. Amber had violated every single one of those principles. Our mutual friends eventually learned the full story. Even those who initially sided with Amber started quietly distancing themselves when they realized the extent of her deception. Apparently, she had been telling different lies to different people, and when those stories stopped matching up, people started seeing through her manipulation. I heard through Jenna that Marcus broke up with Amber after just 2 weeks. Turns out Amber had told him I was her roommate who she casually dated sometimes. When he found out we had been living together for over 2 years and talking about marriage, he felt betrayed too. He apologized to me through a mutual friend. I respected that he owned his mistake once he knew the truth. Amber ended up moving back to Georgia with her parents. She had no choice. Without their financial support, she could not afford Austin rent on her inconsistent freelance income. I heard through Barbara, who still texted me occasionally, that they had put Amber in therapy and significantly reduced her allowance. Barbara told me Amber was angry, claiming she had been unfairly judged and that I had ruined her life. But I knew the truth. I had not ruined her life. She ruined her own life by choosing deception over honesty, manipulation over respect. I had simply refused to be complicit in my own disrespect. 1 month after the text, I was sitting on my balcony on a Saturday morning drinking coffee and watching the sunrise paint the Austin skyline in shades of orange and pink. The apartment felt like mine again. I had rearranged the furniture, painted the living room a deep blue-gray that I loved, but Amber had always vetoed. I bought new dishes to replace the ones she took. Every trace of her was gone. For the first time in months, I felt light. Free, not lonely, just peacefully alone. I realized something important that morning. I had not lost someone who loved me. I had lost someone who did not respect me. And that is not a loss. That is an escape. The first 3 months after Amber were the hardest, but not in the way people expected. I did not miss Amber herself. I missed the idea of who I thought she was. I grieved the future we had planned together. The wedding we casually discussed. The house we wanted to buy. The kids whose names we had already picked out. All of that was built on a foundation of lies, but letting go of those dreams still hurt. I threw myself into work. Took on a challenging new project, rebuilding our company's customer database architecture. My manager noticed my increased dedication and offered me a promotion to senior engineer. The raise was substantial. The validation felt good. I also started taking care of myself physically, not to get a revenge body or to make Amber jealous. I joined a gym because I wanted to feel strong again. Lifting weights gave me a sense of control when everything else had felt chaotic. I started running in the mornings before work, watching the sun come up over Lady Bird Lake, feeling my lungs burn and my muscles ache. The physical pain was clean, honest, real. It reminded me I was alive and moving forward. Tyler introduced me to rock climbing at a gym near campus. I was terrible at first, arms shaking halfway up the wall, but something about the challenge appealed to me. Every route was a puzzle to solve. Every hold required focus. There was no room for thinking about betrayal or broken trust when you were clinging to a wall 20 feet up. I remember one specific climb, about 2 months after the breakup. I was halfway up a difficult route, arms burning, legs shaking, looking up at the holds above me and doubting I could make it. I had a choice in that moment. Let go, drop to the mat below, accept defeat, or trust myself and keep climbing. I kept going. When I reached the top and rang the bell, Tyler whooped from below. That small victory felt enormous. I also started therapy. Dr. Williams was a woman in her 50s with kind eyes and zero tolerance for self-deception. In our third session, after I had spent an hour analyzing what I could have done differently to prevent Amber's cheating, she stopped me. "Preston, loving someone does not mean accepting disrespect," she said firmly. "You keep trying to take responsibility for her choices. But her choices were hers alone. You could not have prevented them by being different or better or more understanding. She chose deception. That is not your fault." Another time she said something that shifted my entire perspective. Boundaries are not walls, they are foundations. You set a boundary by refusing to accept lies and betrayal. That does not make you harsh. That makes you healthy. I started recognizing red flags I had ignored with Amber. The way she dismissed my concerns as insecurity. The way she accused me of being controlling when I asked basic questions about where our relationship was going. The way she made me doubt my own perceptions of reality. I learned the term gaslighting in therapy and realized how many times Amber had used that tactic to avoid accountability. 6 months after everything imploded, I ran into Amber at a coffee shop downtown. I was meeting Tyler for lunch. She was in line ahead of me, looking thinner than I remembered, tired. When she turned and saw me, her eyes went wide. She started walking toward me. I raised my hand, palm out. "I have nothing to say to you," I said quietly. She stopped. Her eyes filled with tears. "Preston, please. Can we just talk for 5 minutes? I need to explain." "No," I said. She stood there for a moment, tears running down her cheeks, then turned and walked out of the coffee shop without ordering. I felt a flicker of pity, but nothing more. She had destroyed something real for something that never had a chance of lasting. That was her burden to carry, not mine. Around the 8-month mark, I started dating again. Nothing serious at first. Coffee dates, walks around Zilker Park, casual dinners. I was more cautious than before, but not closed off. I refused to let Amber's betrayal turn me bitter or cynical about relationships in general. Then I met Sarah. She was an elementary school teacher, warm and straightforward in a way that felt refreshing. On our third date over Thai food at the same restaurant where Amber and I had our first date, Sarah asked about my last relationship. I told her the truth. She cheated on me for months, then called it polyamory after I found out. She gave me an ultimatum via text. I chose myself instead. Sarah put down her fork and looked at me seriously. Good, she said. You deserved better than that. Those simple words hit me differently than they would have months earlier, because I believed them now. I did deserve better. I deserved honesty, respect, genuine partnership. Settling for less was not love. It was just accepting crumbs and calling it a meal. Over time, I realized the situation had taught me several crucial lessons. First, trust requires honesty as its foundation. Without honesty, everything else collapses. Second, love, without respect, is just attachment. Real love includes treating your partner with dignity and consideration. Third, ultimatums reveal character. Someone who truly loves you does not give you an ultimatum via text message while staying at another person's apartment. Fourth, consequences are not the same as punishment. Amber faced consequences for her choices. Losing her apartment, losing financial support from her parents, losing relationships with mutual friends. None of that was revenge on my part. Those were natural outcomes of her decisions. Fifth, choosing yourself is not selfish. Walking away from disrespect is self-preservation, not cruelty. Sixth, pain is temporary, but self-respect is permanent. The pain of ending the relationship hurt intensely at first, but faded over time. If I had stayed, I would have sacrificed my self-respect permanently. That trade would never have been worth it. Looking back now, I understand that I did not win or lose in that situation. I simply refused to play a rigged game. Amber wanted me to accept being disrespected in the name of her authenticity. But real authenticity would have included honesty from the beginning. Real authenticity would have meant having difficult conversations before pursuing other relationships. What she wanted was not authenticity. It was freedom from consequences. Some people called me harsh for changing the locks and telling her parents. Those people usually benefit from others having weak boundaries. Strong boundaries make manipulators uncomfortable because they remove the ability to exploit kindness as weakness. 1 year after the text, I was sitting on my balcony again on a Tuesday morning, same day of the week. Everything had fallen apart. I had a cup of coffee beside me, the Austin skyline stretching out in front of me, and I felt genuinely happy. Not the absence of pain, but actual contentment. The apartment was fully mine. I had been promoted again at work. My friendships were stronger. My relationship with Sarah was developing slowly and healthily, built on honest communication and mutual respect. My phone buzzed. A text from Sarah. Good morning. Still on for hiking at Mount Bonnell this weekend. I will bring snacks. I smiled and typed back. Absolutely. Cannot wait. I thought about where I had been a year ago. Standing in the kitchen, reading that ultimatum, feeling my world tilt sideways. I thought about the choice I made in that moment. To respect myself, even when it hurt. To demand honesty, even when it cost me a relationship. To walk away from someone who did not value me enough to tell the truth. Best decision I ever made. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is walk away. Not in anger, not for revenge, but in recognition that you deserve honesty and respect. Amber taught me what I will not accept in a relationship. Now I am building a life around what I will accept. And that life is so much better than anything built on lies could ever be. The text had said, accept it, or I am gone. I chose me. And I would make that same choice again every single time. If you have ever been in a situation where someone demanded you sacrifice your self-respect for their convenience, drop a comment below. I would love to hear how you handled it. And if this story resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life stories about setting boundaries and choosing yourself. Share this with someone who needs to hear that walking away from disrespect is not cruelty, it is strength. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it helps someone out there realize they deserve better too. Take care of yourselves. And remember, you are worth honesty. You are worth respect. Never settle for less.